get paid.
And I can quit my job. And if I work with you and you're listening, because those numbers are growing too.
Yeah.
Don't tell the bosses.
It's
please.
okay. Tell them. I don't give a fuck. Tell them.
And welcome back to the Riley Black Project with Crystal and John.
Hey.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy fucking New Year.
Happy New Year. We've had a rough day. Oh, that's good.
Correction. We've had a rough year.
Yeah, we have. But more importantly, we've had a rough night because this is nighttime that we're recording this because we are, as always, we are a week in the past. Mm-hmm. And the boys were out of, well, no, JR had school today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jackson was out
of daycare. And JR continues to be a handful. And
we'll get into that though.
We are at wit's end, but I guess we'll get into that.
We're going to talk about the positives first and then end on the negatives and then try and like wrap it back up.
Okay. Year in review. So
we're going to do a little year in review, whatever you want to call it. And we're just going to kind of we're going to go over.
There was a lot of that over the year.
Yeah. We're going to go over some stats. Some all-time stats, some stats that I got from just this year. And then we're going to talk about some of the struggles that we've had this year. Mm-hmm. And then which with a lot of that comes the importance of mental health. Yeah. And doing what you can to keep that healthy.
Yeah, and to maintain.
It's a struggle.
Yeah. It's been tough.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about that. And yeah, I think that's about it. Hey guys, thanks for watching and listening. If you'd like to support us monetarily now or in the future, here are a few ways.
You can join us on Patreon and reach out to us to run ads on the podcast.
For only $20, by the way.
Only $20.
You could also buy a file from my Etsy shop, some keychain accessories from my website, the course to learn some file designs, or explore one of my partnerships with either Eon or Pyburn.
Yeah, and you can find all those links on our Facebook group. That's the Riley Black Project.
Yep. To support us for $0 a month, you can share the podcast with your laser friends, subscribe to our YouTube channel, interact with our content, share, like, comments. What else?
And subscribe and leave a review on our Apple podcast. Mm-hmm. And then follow us on social media. That's Facebook and Instagram. The Riley Black Project.
Yes, we appreciate your support so much. We have big dreams of John joining us full time, and anything that you can do monetarily or for free to help us get there, we appreciate it so much.
To start on the plus side, I mean, we're in the studio.
Yes.
You know,
I really love our studio.
Yes, it's great, and it almost it's only been like months. It hasn't been it hasn't been like a year.
August, I think.
Yeah,
July, August.
Yeah. So like, it feels like we've been in here longer because we've done a lot of shows in here.
I can't even think about how we used to do it
on the couch,
sitting on the couch,
right?
Not even facing each other.
Exactly.
Like
not having the camera.
No.
And how about how well you've taken to the camera?
Right.
You were so worried about it.
I was so against it.
Right. And I was against all the work, and like, I kind of like it. I like working on the podcast now.
Yeah.
You know, the video aspect.
Yeah. It's become my baby for sure. Not the video part, because that's you.
Right.
But yeah, the podcast has become one of the things I enjoy doing the most because it's kind of the easiest in a way, because I just talk to people and ask them questions.
Well, and then also the feedback that we get, you know, from listeners and viewers, which is great as to like how it's helped them either, you know, not realize that they're not alone, or help giving them tips on like, you know, like how to quit.
And for me, it was like the validation of keeping it real. Mm-hmm. And if you've been following us because I keep it real.
Right.
This is going to be one of the realest episodes.
This is going to be the realest episode.
I'm just going to warn you.
Yeah. And if you haven't had a chance, because it came out during right at Christmas Eve and in Christmas time, our last episode with Katie Gallo.
If you please.
That was so she was in person. She was in studio. If you haven't seen it.
I can't. I'm surprised. because I guess I
Right.
just didn't know how well it would translate.
Right. And like we even
but we
learned
love
stuff,
her.
and
Yeah.
we learned stuff just talking to her.
Right. And we love her, but I just didn't know like how well that we were going to be able to make the episode like relevant to
Right.
like what everybody's doing and what people are doing.
Right.
And like I liked it so much. You guys will have to tell us what you think about it, but I liked it so much. I kind of want to have her like on like quarterly
Right.
or every other quarter or something, a couple times a year.
Right.
Just because it's important stuff and you don't know what you don't know. I say that all the time.
Right.
And so that's why it's helpful to have a professional, in your corner to tell you what you don't know and to like look at your business and be like, hey, have you thought about this? Or are you doing this? Or maybe you should do this or,
Right. And
that kind of stuff.
I walked away from that episode, like doing it live, like motivated and pumped. And then when I went back and edited the podcast, just as much, like just as like pumped and everything for the future. And that's part of what having an accountant is. It gives you like hopefully a positive outlook to the future. And if let's say your numbers weren't as good as you thought or whatever, it still gives you a plan of action almost moving forward into the future.
Right.
So yeah. If you haven't caught it because it came out during Christmas time and stuff, definitely go back and watch it. It was a really good one. It was fun to do.
Yeah.
A lot of helpful tips. And
one of our few in person.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, we can only really get people. We're in South Florida. So we're limited on guest options.
And we can't fly anybody in yet.
No, we don't have it like that.
So
currently.
if you like the podcast, go ahead and like and subscribe on YouTube. Hit that, smash that like button.
Sign up for Patreon.
Yeah, that's all in our personal ad that I'm going to add in. Yeah. But still do all those
do
things. Do the things. Help grow this podcast because it's fun to do.
Yeah.
And live guests, I feel like are better. The conversation flows a little better because we're in the same room,
right?
And we get to talk. Not to like the
other ones
the
are
Zoom,
great.
Yeah,
it's just I don't know. It's more fun, more interactive.
You're definitely like more in the room.
Yeah.
And it's been a ride.
Yeah. So you want to hear the stats?
Yes, let's hear the numbers. I haven't. Right. So I have not heard the numbers. She did it.
I was like, don't look.
Yeah, she's like, don't look at the numbers. I want you to hear them firsthand. So,
all right. So
these are our numbers. I know that audio downloads are over 25,000.
Yes.
All time.
So all-time downloads are 26,163.
Okay. That's surprise again. I remember we hit 25 not so long ago.
All-time episode count, this, including this one, is 93 episodes.
I number them, so I know.
That's insane.
Yeah, 93. What are we going to do for 100? Episode 100.
I don't know. Shit, yeah. I need to go see. These are the things I don't think of until then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, like not any knock to anybody, but like, oh, that's the guest I have for 100th episode. You know what I mean? Like
right.
I need to start thinking ahead to these things and like have like.
They're going to be episodes. Such and such. Like, they're going to be episode.
Right. Yeah. I need to.
Yeah.
I need to go look. So for this year though, any guess on how many downloads we've had for this year?
The audio downloads or
audio downloads?
Audio downloads for this year.
Just this year, 365.
Man, I don't know.
With 26 total for.
Yeah, it's 26 total.
All time.
And I'm trying to think of when we got the balloons for 10K.
Right. I don't even remember.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't think that was this year.
Yeah, but that was all time.
Huh?
That was all time.
Oh, but you're talking about how many downloads just this year?
How many downloads have we had for the last 365?
But again, if we hit 10K this year.
Just throw out a number.
5,000.
Really?
I don't know. I want to say 10,000 is what I really want to say. 10K.
Well, it's 17,962 downloads for the last 365 days.
Wow. So then that means, so if we've had, what was it, 17?
18 basically. 18. Round up. 18,000
and a total
downloads.
Of 26. That means we had more downloads this year than last year.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
definitely
great.
That means all the rest of them, that's what, how many? 8,000? What's the math? 8,000? So 8,000.
numbers are hard.
8,000 last year. 18,000 this year.
Crazy growth. Mm-hmm. Thank you guys for listening,
right?
For downloading, for telling friends.
Full disclosure, we didn't start until like March or April, but still, like that's huge.
Those numbers don't reflect that.
No,
though that's a lot. Because March is still early in the year,
right? Yeah.
So
I just don't remember like when we started telling people. I think it was April. But
still, again,
Yep.
that jump is
And so this year we've recorded and released 51 episodes. That means
this is 52, right?
No. No.
How? We haven't skipped a week. Should be 52. There are 52 weeks in a year.
51. No, I think there was 1 week that we had to. I think early. So the first episode wasn't until January 10th. So I think we skipped that first week.
Oh, okay. So 51. You missed a week.
But yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah, consistency.
Yeah, which we're not great at.
Not so much. Other than the podcast, apparently.
Right. So YouTube views. Want to throw out any numbers? Or are you overguessing?
YouTube views?
Yeah, just the views, not actual like watch time or anything.
Oh, not the watch hours for monetization. 700. Wait, views count, not time. I don't know.
12,984 views.
Wow. Hey, subscribe. If you're viewing, subscribe.
Right? Watch time is 580 hours.
Yeah, that I knew that.
In the app, it says 544. So right. So I think it's something like public watch hours. There's probably like, I don't know, 40 of those hours aren't public, whatever that means. Whatever. But our subs, do you know how many subs we gained? YouTube subs.
Oh, we gained? Mm-hmm. No, I know we're like at 645.
We are at 645.
I don't know where we started.
We gained 273. Right.
Not bad.
Right?
Not bad, but according to those views, we missed out on a lot of you guys.
Right? Come on.
Just hit the subscribe button.
The rest of these numbers are all time. But we have 964 Facebook members.
Okay.
431 followers on Insta. And 21 patrons.
Oh, nice. Thank you as always to our patrons.
Yes. You make all the difference, honestly.
Yes, you do.
Because, there's time and, we have to pay for our host. It's $18 a month, but, whatever.
Yeah.
And then,
gear. I mean, in this year, we've paid for gear and...
Yeah. There's a lot that we've invested into it.
Yes.
We're not quite in the green yet, but,
we'll get there.
We're going to get there.
And you can help us get there by subscribing to YouTube.
Put that little plug.
Gotta keep plugging YouTube because that's what. See, so you can subscribe for free, and you can tell friends to subscribe for free.
For free.
That way, we get our subscribers up, and then we get our watch hours up, and then even though you're watching for free, we can get paid, and I can quit my job. And if I work with you and you're listening, because those numbers are growing too. Yeah. Don't tell the bosses. Please.
It's okay. Tell them. I don't give a fuck. Tell them. I almost called your boss out by name. Let me stop. I've had a few sips.
I edit it, so it's gonna be a beep anyway.
He's a great person.
He's a good guy. But
I still.
Yeah, we have our goals. Job. We have our goals. Yeah. So
they've been good to you for the most part. So that's the caveat, which almost makes it a little bit harder. I mean, it makes it actually a lot harder to leave because it's not like they're like, Yeah,
it's not a horrible job.
Yeah. You don't hate going to work every day. Nope. So, but we have goals and we want to work for ourselves.
Yeah. So that's it. Just like everybody else in the community. And you know how you've retired, those of you that have retired your significant other, your spouse, we're trying to do the same thing. Over here on the podcast.
Hashtag goals.
and crushing goals. Because again, I mean, this is a big deal. We do this. We've been doing this every day from episode 70 something, and we're on 90 something.
Yeah.
So
what do you mean every day?
Here in the studio, because we started this on episode 70 something, and we're at 90. This is 93. So like, we've done a lot of video, even though it's been a short period of time, and it feels like we've been doing this
for a
long time here in the studio. So this is a big deal. We've done.
Go us.
Yeah, right. High five. Let's do this. Yeah, and then to the future and beyond.
Yeah,
as Buzz Lightyear says.
He says to infinity and beyond.
To infinity and beyond. Okay,
whatever.
Well,
it's close.
Whatever. That was close.
Yeah. So I don't even know where to start on life, man.
It's been a roller coaster. Trying to deal with this fairly new. It was like an end of the year boom from JR and his whatever he's going through, because it's not diagnosed yet. So
prior to that, I was kind of struggling. I had a really great initial course launch.
Yep.
The other ones were not bad, but they weren't what the first one was, which I should expect. But my brain was hopeful, and I was like, oh, he can quit right now. And, whatever.
Well, everything grows. So you figured that would grow.
Right. But, that didn't happen. And there's a lot of reasons why that didn't happen, even within myself. I didn't advertise it as much as I should have.
Right.
I didn't advertise it as much as I did the first time. I don't think I even advertised it all until like a week or two before for the second launch.
Right.
Stuff like that.
Well,
so,
to be fair, in that first launch,
I was still creating the course.
You were still doing the course as it was going.
Right.
So
there's reasons why I didn't.
You were pretty burnt out there towards the end.
Yeah.
To go ahead and start promoting the next one.
But it's what also led to it not being nearly as successful as it was the first time. So there was that. And then the economy kind of took a tank soon after that. And so I had, one of my best selling months ever. And then a few months later had my worst selling months ever, like kind of across the board.
Right.
It wasn't just my course. It was the files. It was,
thingies.
What else do I do? Keychain thingies, So all of those things were down, and that kind of not 100% like caused the funk that I was in, but it definitely didn't help.
Well, it affects a big, it almost feels like you're going backwards.
Yeah,
when it was like not even up to you,
right?
Like, because you can't as for as much as we want to, you can't like control sales,
right?
So
you can, but you can't.
You can and you can't.
Yeah,
but I mean, you can control it as far as advertising and stuff, but if people aren't buying, they're not buying. If they're buying less, they're buying less. There's nothing. Yeah. We can't control the market that well. So it feels like a defeat.
Yeah. So there was some extreme highs and some extreme lows. And then the normal things that I would do to get out of a funk weren't working for me anymore. Those are usually taking a break. The break didn't help. Creating whatever I wanted to, not what I had to.
Right.
That didn't help. I honestly don't even remember like what else I tried. And I couldn't get out of it. And then, I knew I needed to find therapy, but finding a therapist that you like vibe with is difficult.
Right.
And so that was daunting when you're already kind of like mentally overwhelmed.
Right.
Finding someone to talk to and who you trust and who you feel comfortable opening up to is difficult when you're already like mentally overwhelmed.
Right. And it's also and it also doesn't help that when you go to a new one, you try to find one.
Right.
And you find yourself telling the same story over and over because maybe you're going to 2 or 3 different ones and everyone wants to start, let's start from the beginning. So it's like and then like with insurance, we have ComPsych, which is great because there's the EAP program and stuff, but excuse me, they'll send you 6
different options, right? And then you look up them and, you look up their reviews and you're like, oof, I don't want that. And then you call them and you leave a message and they don't call you back. Or you call them and they actually answer, but they're not taking any new patients, or, you know what I mean? So it's just, it feels like there's like it's kind of just daunting because there's a lot of like things that you got to hop
there's
over
a lot of
sometimes.
red tape,
Yeah. And, when you're already just blah, you don't have a lot in you to do that kind of stuff.
Right. You're trying to find help to dig you out of it.
Right.
To get motivated, to do all this stuff when, you almost want to give up at the first roadblock because you're over everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I finally did it because I knew that just me trying to do it on my own wasn't working anymore. And I was just sick of feeling like that. I was sick of not being able to give my business the care it needed, the attention it needed, the love that I used to have for it. And I wanted that to change, but I didn't know how. And so I had found somebody, and I've been seeing her almost every week for several weeks now. And, thank goodness I did, because I didn't know the shitstorm that we were in store for.
Right.
I remember I had like 1 or 2 weeks where I felt like hopeful and kind of happy again.
Right.
And then that's when things started ramping up with JR. And, I've noticed things in him since he was a baby, since he was 2 years old. And I wrote off a lot of it as like, that's a toddler thing.
Right, that
that's
he'll grow
a developmental thing.
Stage.
Every kid does that, or he'll grow out of it.
Right.
I'm like, okay, and we brought it up to the pediatrician a few times. He was in speech therapy. We'd make sure to always mention it. When we were talking about like goals for the year and that kind of stuff. And up until about October this year, it was manageable.
Right. Yeah.
Like, there was like some bad days, or like, oof, that day really sucked, or, whatever. But since October, it does not feel like 2 months.
Right.
This last 2 months feels like
it's a daily, and
it's more like 3 months because it's all of October, all of November, all of December.
Right. It's a daily, like you're assured almost 100% at this point that bedtime is gonna be
a fucking battle.
Yeah, it's gonna be battle royale.
And sometimes it's not. There's been days where it's not just bedtime. There's days where getting him to school is battle number 1. Battle number 2 is picking him up from school, and then there's something that starts at there, and then third is like is bedtime.
Right, but what I'm saying is, since then, you can have an amazing day and think, wow, we had a great day. This is gonna be a good one. Yeah. But nighttime is almost always assured that it's gonna be a battle.
Yeah, you'll have that one rare one that'll trick you.
Yeah, but then you've had 2 or 3 already throughout the day. Right. Like we have not gone, I don't think we've gone a 24-hour span.
I don't think
without some sort of meltdown, tantrum, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Which sucks. And like and tonight's one, like, it's, we know there's something's up. Yeah. So for me tonight was hard because I was looking at him a little differently during the tantrum or whatever he was going through. Yeah. And it hurt me because I know he's sick. Right. It's almost like he's sick, and I can't help him because we don't know what it is. Right. But there's something going on. So it's like the sense of helplessness. You want to do everything you can to make it better, but you can't.
Yeah, and it's this tough battle of knowing that he's, I don't even know what to call it, that he's special, or that he has something going on. So we one thing that we think that we've kind of had a couple people verify, but he's not officially been diagnosed, is we believe he has ADHD, right, or something similar of the sort. And we have this weird balance, this weird dance every day of knowing that he struggles to handle his emotions, that his brain doesn't know how to regulate that stuff,
right.
but then also not letting him rule the world,
right?
Like, putting in consequences, and then it's like, what's a good consequence? What is too far? What is helping him? What is okay? Now I'm showing attention to this breakdown, and now I'm basically telling him, to keep doing this,
right.
and validating this behavior,
right.
and protecting Jackson from it has been a new difficulty because. There was a time where JR walked up and hit your leg, and Jackson walked up right behind him and did the same thing, and JR wasn't playing. Jackson kind of was. We think
he didn't know what he was doing.
And it's like I don't want him to learn that. He's in the I do what everybody else does,
especially
stage.
His brother.
And I'm. As you can tell, I'm struggling with words because it's just I don't know what to do. I'm doing the best I can every day, but then I also end the day like beating myself up about how I handled it and did I do that the best? Am I causing additional trauma to him? Because there's stuff that happened either from my mom or my stepmom or my dad that at this age that I remember. Do I remember it accurately? Who knows?
Right.
But my brain tells me that remember when that thing happened and remember how it made you feel?
Right. You remember how it made you feel. You might not remember what happened, but you remember how you felt.
And I probably forget the part where I was an asshole for all day before they lost their cool and did whatever.
Right. And also they're much like us. It's always hard. It's hard to you think your parents have all the answers when you're growing up. You think they know what they're doing. And then you become a parent. You're like, oh, wait a minute. You're just flying. Don't know what the fuck we're doing. Just flying by the seat of your pants.
Yeah.
So that's what they were doing. They were doing the best with the knowledge that they had.
Right.
And with the parenting that they had.
Yep.
Which is what we're doing now as parents.
Yeah.
So yeah, you think about that time and how it made you feel, but you also have to think of it's all they knew.
Right.
And they were doing their best. That's all you can do. You can't beat yourself up at the end of the day because we're doing our best. Everyone's telling us,
tell my brain that.
Right. Well, yeah, you need to because like everyone's like, it's good that you're seeking help now.
Yeah.
That you are seeing these behaviors and wondering if it's more instead of just writing it off.
Right.
Because he is only 5.
Right.
So it's also that balance.
Has made this process even harder. It's like
because nobody wants to touch
he's only 5, and it's like okay, but like I can't tell you how many times I've said on the phone, calm down. It looked a lot more dramatic than it was, but it looked like you were chugging it.
No, it's like a little bit less.
But I can't tell you how many times I've told somebody, like, look, we're miserable.
Right.
When they wouldn't help me. I'm like, you tell me you can't help me because of his age. You tell me you can't see him because you don't, there isn't proof that he's having like seizures or something more severe or whatever. And it's like, okay, well, I hope that like
we'll see how tonight goes. I
don't have a mental breakdown before someone will help me. I hope that I don't make a mistake that I can't come back from, or you know what I mean? Because like I have my own issues that I'm trying to deal with right now, and I struggle with anxiety. I get very overwhelmed easily. I get during the day I get like what do you call it? Like the overload of touching. Like I don't want to be touched anymore. Right. At a certain point, and like and that's all he wants to do sometimes when he's like in these moments, and it's like, and in that moment, all I want to do is like run away. I don't want you hanging on me, and just stuff like that. And it's like trying to manage my own while trying to help him manage him when I don't know the best way to do so. It's just, it's not even an everyday struggle. It's like, it's an every hour struggle, every minute struggle some days. I mean, like there was one day that so in school, he's a completely different person.
Yeah.
In school, he's an angel. Yeah. He's able to walk in that door. He turns it all off, and he, has a good day. Sure, I'm sure he has his moments. I know sometimes they've said, oh, he talks a lot, or he's very friendly. He likes to hang out with his friends, whatever. But behaviorally, we've had zero complaints from the school.
No outbursts, no fighting, no hitting.
No hitting, no kicking, no...
None of the stuff that he does
all
with
the stuff that he does at home.
Right.
And so then I'll go pick him up from school, and sometimes we can't even make it to the car. And it's not a far walk.
Right.
From where we pick him up to where we park. It's close. And sometimes we can't even make it to the car without him fighting me on something.
Right.
And it can be the littlest thing that'll set him off.
Yeah. A snack.
It'll be, I want a snack, or I want that snack. Right.
Like, okay, well, let's wait till we get to the car. And then that's it.
Yeah.
You told him no.
And then now you're in for potentially a several hour, I call them episodes right now because I don't know what else to call them.
Right.
And, he'll get to the point where he's repeating something. And what I've learned, in talking to my friends and opening up on social media a little bit, is the term is called flooding. And he will, so like one day it was, I want a snack. And another day it was, I want a book.
Right.
And he'll repeat that phrase over and over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Tonight was, I want somebody to sleep with me.
Yeah. And like, you don't want to hear it anymore, but like, you'll try and talk to him and you'll ask him a question and the answer will be, I want a book. And you'll be like, I gave you, I want a book. And you'll try to talk to him and try to, calm him down. You'll try to reason with him and there's just none. And then I think he eventually just gets so tired from the fight that's what like makes it so that he finally hears you, or he finally agrees to, I'll lose this so that I can get this, or, and tonight, it was, he wanted someone to sleep with him. And I struggle with this decision every day because, I know several close laser friends who, like, that either lay with them while they go to sleep, or, Emily used to text us in the TM wall chat. That's always when she showed up in the chat because she was hiding in the corner of her daughter's room until she fell asleep. And so that's when she was always, catching up on that chat for the day. And I was like, man, I don't want that life.
Right. Well,
I don't want to be, because it makes me feel trapped.
Well, and no knock to those that do it, because it is the easy way, like, quote, the easy way out. Because like tonight, I was like, we tried to like stand our ground. Yeah. Because we're in Florida and you can stand your ground. We try to stand our ground and not give in to the staying in there for like 20 minutes until he falls asleep.
And part of that is because with JR, his bedtime routine is already way longer than I would like it to be, because he will add something onto it and then that needs to be how it goes, or you've ruined the whole thing and now good luck getting him to sleep because you didn't do that one thing in that order, or
for everybody else it becomes the regular too, because like you said, she was texting you thing.
True.
So I decided like, no, not tonight. So when he came out of his room and followed me out, I said at a certain point I was like, all right, fine, that's what you're gonna do, because you're gonna fall asleep.
Right.
So he was on the couch, and then we were texting back and forth.
Right, because I wanted to talk about like decisions.
And then I told him, I'm like, well, I'm texting Santa. Yeah. Because, I mean, again, we're a week in the past. And Christmas is on Sunday. Yeah. So, and today's Friday. So I was telling him, well, I'm texting Santa, because he's like, what are you telling him? I'm like, well, you're not asleep. You're out here. You're not listening. So I have to, and he's like, oh, just tell, like, he wanted me to lie to Santa. And I'm like, I'm getting my gift. I'm like, listen, I'm going to be a good boy, and I'm not going to lie to Santa. Yeah. If you want to lie to Santa, that's a different story. When you get his phone number, when you get older, you can text him and lie to him if you want to. But no, we were texting like, how long are we going to do this? How long are you planning to do this? And I'm like, I'm just trying something new.
Yeah.
Like we don't
want
to.
I mean, the thing is, I guess with tonight was that like, I was there, if you needed to be like, okay, I'm tapping out, like, your turn. When, again, I've mentioned it a few times on the other episodes, like 5 nights a week, it's just me.
Right. And that's why I don't tap out. That's why I didn't, and I don't.
I didn't want to give in to him and go in the room. And, I've done it before. There's been nights where I gave in and just did it because I know it's only like 5, 10, 20 minutes. And if I compare that to what we went through tonight, which was 2 hours, it's like, well, I don't want that.
It's the easy way out.
I don't want that either. But it wasn't effective. Right. Like, we took away everything we had left to take away. Right. He didn't care.
Yeah, everything.
He was so stuck on he wanted someone in his room. Like, I took away TV and iPad tomorrow. I took away his 2 new toys that he got from school. You were texting Santa and we don't know if Santa's coming.
We were toying with taking away Christmas, and even that didn't frustrate him out. Yeah.
And it's like, well, like, what do you do to a kid who's like, Hail Mary, take it all? Right.
And then
when you have taken, listen, and I've been the kid where my mom took it all. And I know what that did to me. And that's why I have a tongue piercing. Because she took, for good reason, I'm sure. She took everything away, but I had nothing to lose
at that point. Right.
So I don't also want to do that either because I know a kid who has nothing to lose is a kid who's like, fuck it. I've already lost everything. What are you going to take away now? Because I was going to night school. I was working and I had no life anyway. So I'm like, okay, you're going to catch me eventually. And I thought I would make it longer than I did. But
it's a tongue piercing every time you talk.
I could hide it pretty well. My grandfather didn't see it for years.
Yeah, but his eyesight was probably gone.
Shut up.
And every time his basement is dim light.
There's been a lot of people who've never noticed. Or it took them a while to notice. But yeah, so funny story. I had an ingrown toenail and she had to help me like get it out.
And that's when she found
it? And it hurt really bad. And so I said, ow. Like, ow.
Oh.
And then
she saw it.
Yeah. And then it was like, oh, shit. And yeah, I still have it. That also tells you again, like, what was she gonna, like, she was mad at me. She was disappointed. She had nothing left to take away, so it's just like, and he's, now mind you, I was 16, not 5.
Right.
So like, I don't want to be in that situation where we have nothing to take away. And then I don't want to take everything away. Right. Like, I want him to have those things. I want him to play with his new toys and stuff that he just got. Right. And for my sanity, I want him to have TV and iPad.
Right.
Because then now I'm like shooting myself in the foot because now I have to figure out what are positive ways that he can entertain himself this next day while he's on punishment from those things.
And out of school.
Oh, for the next 2 weeks. Oh, Jesus, pray for me. I'm not
Jesus
even
pray for you?
Someone, Jesus, someone pray for me. Yeah, I'm not religious, but someone just help me because, man.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It is.
I don't know what to do.
But we're seeking help. We got appointments coming up. So.
Yeah, we had the psychiatric appointment this week. Can't do anything. And she's like, man, she ripped off that Band-Aid real quick.
Yeah, real quick. She said from the beginning, I can't do anything because he's 5.
Yeah.
When does he turn 6?
Like, she goes, I'm not going to, oh my God. She goes, I'm not going to BS you. She was like, but he's 5 and we can't do anything until he's 6. Like, we can't medicate him until he's 6.
And even then it's like,
and then, she said the side effects can be pretty gnarly. Yeah. Like, one of them being later in life, he could grow boobs that lactate. Yeah. So then it's like, making that decision. Right. And it's just, and people have told me, don't stop at the first no and don't stop at that and keep going. And it's like, I will, but like, fuck, man, it's exhausting.
Right.
It's so exhausting.
And they don't make it easy to get in
no.
to see people.
And then she was like, and she goes, the follow-up question to all of that was, okay, when does he turn 6? And I was like, July. And she was like, oof. And I'm like, yeah, your face validates the fact that, like, good luck. And even then, like, I hope that by the time he does turn 6, that we don't need medication or that we found another route.
I hope we don't need medication at all.
Yeah, right.
That through, like, therapy and getting him to maybe talk or we get some parent, because we don't know what to do.
Yeah.
We're not, like, silent about it either.
No.
We've tried everything that we know. Mm-hmm. So we need another playbook. Yeah.
And then, like, trying to get into, a neurologist and that was the whole thing. I had a breakdown in the psychiatric, whatever, that office.
Right.
And
well, it's also be therapy. So
yeah. And then, afterwards, we got home and, I called, the pediatrician to follow up on the referral that they never called us about. And so they gave me the doctor's information. I called the number and the number was disconnected. I'm like, fine, I'll Google it. I'll find the current number. Mm-hmm. It's whatever. Sure. Maybe it's outdated and they didn't know. So I called, so I found the number, but then I also found the reviews at the same time. And the reviews were awful. Mm-hmm. Like really bad. And I'm like, great, cool. So I'm like, well, there goes that. So then the psychiatrist gave us 2 referrals, not technical insurance referrals, but gave us 2 numbers, 2 places to reach out to.
Right.
And so I reach out to them and bless her heart, the girl who answered the phone was basically like, she, asked me for the diagnosis code and I didn't have it because all they had given me was name and phone number. And, I told her what we were experiencing. She's like, unfortunately, that's not something, we could help with. It needs to be, of many things. It needs to be like fear of seizure, and if there is fear of seizure, because apparently there's this thing called silent seizures that you can't tell that they're having a seizure, but it results in like behavioral outbursts. Right. And she's like, if they are having that, you need to, if that's the reason they're giving, you then need to also have like documented proof that would suggest that as well. Mm-hmm. And from what I told her that we're experiencing, she's like, that doesn't sound like what we consider criteria for that. And it was basically like, in a nutshell, was like, we can't see you.
Right.
And so that was just like yet another roadblock, and I like lost it. And she was super nice and was just like, I get it, I have a 15-year-old and I know how hard it is, and I know rude.
It hasn't stuck all podcasts, and now it decides to stick.
And she's like, I know how hard it is. And she's like, you hit hurdle after hurdle after hurdle. And she's like, unfortunately, I'm that hurdle, today. Right. And she was like, it will get better. And I made it this long.
It will. We'll get there.
Fucking lot.
Yeah.
I can't wait to look back on it and be like, remember how much that sucked?
Right.
And how much better it is?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, man, this was life, meeting this doctor or whatever, it was life changing. But unfortunately, we have to go through these hurdles to get to that part.
Yeah.
This is the part of being comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah. Because it sucks. I second guess, every decision I make. I feel terrible for when, I can't hold it in, or when I have my own outbursts,
Right.
And I never know if I'm doing the right thing. I just don't know how to parent this kind of kid.
Right. Yeah.
And it sucks because like I want to help him.
Right.
And I don't know how.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the hardest part. Looking at him and wanting to help, but not being able to help because we don't. Nothing that we know how to do is working.
Right.
So.
Because they tell us, several therapists have told us, and when he comes out of his room at night, just put him back in his room, or if he doesn't go to his room on his own, take him to his room yourself. And then when you do, he's hitting you and he's kicking you and he's screaming and he's begging and he's like, I've been told to walk away. And the first few times he let me walk away.
Right.
And now he follows me and he pulls on my shirt. And then I feel like, again, a horrible mother because I'm like, get off of me, or, and it's ignore the behavior, put in the headphones. And it's like, I'll put in the headphones and then he's pushing his body against me because, that's not hitting. He finds loopholes to everything. And it's like, when we've talked to him after the fact and we'll be like, why do you hit, or why do you kick, or, whatever, and he'll be like, oh, I can't control my hands and my feet. And it's like, then you have this thought of, okay, like, does he really mean that? Is he manipulating us? Because at 5, they're master manipulators, to be real.
Yeah.
And it's like, does he really mean that, or is he just saying that to like, lessen the blame and accountability on his part? Or does he really not, can he really not control his hands and his feet? And then, now I'm flipping out on him for something he can't control. Right. And, we try at every point to not spank him. And, because what is that teaching? Say you can't hit me and you can't kick me, but I'm going to do it. Right. And then we've done it a few times because sometimes that is what like resets him and brings him back in that moment. Well, and then, when you do, then it's like,
you feel horrible, right?
Great. Yeah. Like now I feel like
it's also because it's almost, when it gets to that, it's almost like a reaction because he either like slaps you in the face or he kicks you or something. And then your reaction is to, retaliate in the same. Right. So you do give him, you spank him. It's just like, it's like he keeps escalating. Mm-hmm. And you try, and then it's just he hits that right button.
That button.
And then he does, and then I think he realizes, I went too far.
Right.
And then that's when, but it just, you don't want it to get there.
Yeah.
And we do everything possible to avoid getting there. And more times than not, we are successful at that part.
Yeah.
But there are times that it gets too far.
Yeah.
And, he gets a pow pow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do we turn around the podcast?
I don't know. We probably should have done the stats at the end, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just if anybody else is out there that like the whole point in me doing this is because like, so we had a miscarriage before we had JR, and that was my first experience of, like I'm a sharer. I'm usually an oversharer sometimes. Like if I feel comfortable with you, and you hold everything in, you don't tell people shit. But for me, like a lot of times I kind of like, I gotta talk about it with somebody. And then, we went through the miscarriage and, they told me, I remember them telling me the
how
stat
common it was.
There was 1 in 4. And I was like, no, fuck, it's not. Not in my circle.
I don't know
anyone who's had one.
Right.
And then I had one. And then I was talking to a few couple friends, and they're like, "Oh yeah, like family members, like really close friends that never told me." And I was like, "What the fuck?" Like,
I had a friend tell me that the reason behind the age gap
was because they had how many?
Because they had 7 miscarriages.
Oh my god, I can't.
And they finally gave up. Like they literally gave up, and their second child was like almost by accident because they had given up.
Right.
They're like, well, we're done.
Yeah.
And then I think that pregnancy, they didn't expect, as hard as it sounds, they didn't expect it to go to term. Right. So they were just like, every appointment was like, they were waiting for that news. Mm-hmm. And it never came. And they had their second child. Mm-hmm. But it's
so ever since then it was like I remember how in those first few days how alone I felt.
Right.
How I felt like I couldn't post about it on social media because now I'm like posting about something private, or I'm oversharing, or
nobody wants to hear it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I felt so alone, and I was like, and then I started talking to people and realizing how many more people had gone through this that I didn't know. And no judgment to them, because if that's how you deal with it, by all means keep it to yourself.
And they all reach out privately. They don't publicly.
And I get that, and I understand that that's like what worked best for them. But I just wanted to be the person who talked about it for that other person like me who needed to hear that, oh, I do know someone who's gone through this. I do know someone that I can reach out to so that I can know, is this normal? Should I feel like this? How long am I going to feel like this?
Or
that
just
kind
to be
of
like,
stuff.
Oh, well, they went through it and they came out like, they have a child.
Right.
So,
Yeah. So, I shared it for that reason. And since then, I've made sure to just, not put all my business out there, but like share those hard parts where a lot of people might keep them inside instead of putting them out to help someone else who might think that they're alone. Right. And I've heard that a million times, on our podcast too. And when someone tells me that, it makes my day. It makes my week. It makes my month. It keeps me going, because the times that, we've been real, and where someone tells us like, I love how like blunt you are about how it's not all rainbows and chocolate and fantastic stuff, that it can really suck. Even with the, like, I love the posts too when someone's like, I've been seeing a lot of people who I think are, going through their own thing, but where they're like shaming people who are successful but are venting because they're stressed.
Right.
And like, a lot of times like they'll always be like, they have to start it with, I'm thankful for all of these orders, but I'm really tired, or I'm really stressed, or I haven't slept in however many days or hours or whatever. And it's like, can we give them that moment without having to say that they're thankful? Like, of course they're thankful for what's coming in, but that doesn't mean that they don't get the right to say how hard it is.
Right.
So like, I wanted to be...
There's always going to be, in those kind of things, there's always going to be that one voice who says, man, I wish I had that problem.
Right. Right. And I mean, for sure. And I sympathize with them as well, because they're in their own path of struggling, because they don't have that many orders. And I remember being pregnant with JR after the miscarriage, and feeling like I couldn't complain about pregnancy because I was so thankful to be pregnant. Right. And it's like, of course I'm thankful to be pregnant, but let's be real, this sucks. Right. Like, sure, suck at the same time. There's some people that like, they love pregnancy, where those are the people who become surrogates because it's a beautiful, magical thing to them, and they maybe don't have a lot of complications, or they're able to take those complications with grace and it not bother them. But like, I couldn't wait to not be pregnant anymore with a live, healthy child. Right. With both of my pregnancies, and Jackson's pregnancy, that was rough. We had already kind of come to terms with the fact that we weren't going to have any more, but that pregnancy solidified it, because it was really, really hard. And it was like through COVID, I had to go, I was high risk, I was advanced maternal age, and, I had to go through all these extra appointments, and I had to go through most of them by myself. Yeah. And I ended up having to be induced a week before my sister was coming out. And it was just
crazy to see, because we just got that 2-year
the 2-year reminder 2 years ago. I told you I was pregnant and you didn't believe me.
And then at the end of that video, when we go to the first,
It was you recording it from the car.
I was on on FaceTime or whatever.
That sucked. That first appointment I had to literally go to by myself.
All of them.
And
I didn't go to any of them.
No, you went to the last few. After you got your COVID vaccine, you went to the last few appointments.
You sure? I don't remember being in.
Yeah.
I don't remember it as much as I remember going to all of them for JR.
No, you went to the last few. You went to like my last 2 ultrasounds, and then.
Oh, I remember that one.
Yeah, that wasn't an ultrasound, but yeah.
I know, but that's that. Now trying to remember. I remember that one.
Yeah, that one was bad. Where they said that we could bring somebody, and then I brought him, and we waited a really long time for our appointment, and then they called us back, and they're like, "I'm sorry, you're gonna have to go because there's not. It's too small of a room or something." Like I don't know what they said, but it was like we were ready to snap.
Yeah.
So, anyway, where was I going with that? Oh, just feeling like, you lost a pregnancy and you're so thankful for being pregnant, but then now I have to be thankful all the time, and I'm not allowed to say this hurts or this doesn't feel good or I'm
struggling,
so tired or I'm struggling or whatever. And it's like, and that's why mental health is such a difficult thing to manage, because you're trying to find this balance between what the universe and what people and what society says is acceptable for you to complain about. And if you do complain about it or you do vent about it, then that means you're not thankful. And I mean, the recent passing of Twitch has really messed with me. I mean, it messed with me like Robin Williams did.
Yeah, that one was tough.
And it's like these people are so, the limelight, and they're so happy and go lucky, and like everyone's like, light and glow, and they light up a room when they're in it. And it's like, you can't even imagine that person is struggling with that, like on the back end, and that whatever their brain was telling them in that moment.
They're struggling to a point that they did what they did.
Yeah. And it kills me. And it's just, I felt like I was doing that to a certain extent. Like I've made a couple, I called them like vulnerable posts or whatever, on my social media. Because, having to make reels and content and stuff, like, I don't want to go on and show how I really feel. Like, I don't want to go on that day and be like, I don't want to fucking do this today. But then I put on my happy face, I put on makeup, I do it, and then I edit it and I put it out. But then, like, in the background, I'm really like, that sucked. I didn't want to do that. And so then, it got to the point. You're lying. Well, I felt like I was being fake. Right. And I'm really, really terrible at being fake. And so I felt like I had to, like, put it out there that, like, and the last one I did, I'm like, when you see me, because I like to pride myself on being funny and goofy and like, I'm not I don't know, typical, like, I don't know, I do the goofy ones. Like, I don't like being serious. I'm terrible at being serious. Yeah. And so I also don't want to be the one who's like down all the time or mopey or complaining or whining. And so it's like finding this hard balance of like, I'm not okay, and it's okay to not be okay. Right. Like, don't stay in that for long, because it'll suck you in. Yeah. Well, we just had and do what you can to get out of it. But like, I had to be honest with people and, be like, if you saw me being like happy that day, I was either faking it or it was a rare good day. Right. Now.
Well, we had a friend who stepped back from, who's a content creator who stepped back and got, well, I don't want to say their name, but, you'll know, cause, they got, YouTube told them that you have to, because you're going to lose monetization. Yeah. And they came back and posted because of that. But that was the only reason, because they were feeling, similar, overwhelmed with the kids. And the last thing they wanted to do was post content, you don't have it in you. Smiling and, this is, what I do. And hey, welcome back to the whatever,
Yeah. So glad you're here. Yeah. It's like, no, I'm not, you know? Right. Yeah. So it's just, if you're struggling, please reach out for help. You're not alone. Find that suicide line if you need it. Like,
if it gets to that point,
just, reach out to a friend. I have to give a shout out to the laser friends who've reached out to me, because, you know, man, if it wasn't for those, you know, Heather and MJ and all of those who've been there for me through all of this, like it helped a lot, because it's you know, it feels really alone,
right?
You know, so I swear I'm not crying again, but I have to burp. But like, you know, find your tribe, find your people. I can be that person if you need someone, if you don't have anybody. But just make sure to get help. And while I feel like, you know, we have a long road ahead of us and we have a big hill to climb, I feel like I have better tools now than I did, you know, 3 to 6 months ago.
Right.
You know, I have therapy, you know, to look forward to next week. And I know that if I really needed to, I could probably reach out to her sooner than our appointment. And, you know, we have JR's appointment next week.
Right.
And I'm hopeful that one isn't like all the rest of them where they're like, we can't help you.
Well, they've all been like, we can't help you fully.
Yeah.
They kind of have tried.
Yeah, they give us little tips that don't work, and we look at them and we look at them and like, that's not gonna work.
You don't know the struggle.
You don't understand.
You don't know the struggle. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've even had to explain to family members and friends that are like, oh, just, you know, put your hands on your hip and tell them, no, we're not doing that. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, come over.
Yeah, watch this. No, you can't do that.
Okay, and then he's going to hit me.
Yep. So, or something, or whatever.
Yeah. So,
and it's hard for them to realize because he's such a good like kid when they're around. Oh my God,
I know. Which
it's like that Looney Tune. Well, it's like that Looney Tune thing with the frog who sings and dances. Except when he takes them to like showcase it, and it's like ribbit.
Yeah.
He's like, hello, my baby. Hello, my dog. When he's sitting on the bench, it's acting up or whatever. But then when he brings it to like sell them, he's like, ribbit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how. That's
you know,
how he
and
is.
I can't expect them to understand because they're not in it with me every day. They're not, you know, experiencing it with me. But it's also what makes it feel so isolating and alone. It's because they don't understand. They're not trained to give me the advice I need right now.
Well,
and the tips I need.
They don't see it. Yeah, because he doesn't show it when they're around. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's hard. So yeah, seek help. If you're going through it,
please.
If you're not, send prayers. Follow us on YouTube.
Yeah.
Follow us on Patreon.
But I mean, to end it though, we made it. We made it to the end of the year.
Yes, we
did. There are definitely still some accomplishments.
Hey, this is our year, 2023.
Maybe. Yeah.
That's all you can say, really, because you go through it.
Yeah, I mean, we have to do it.
Yeah,
so let's do our best to make it a good one.
That's it. My goal this year is to have the I have labeled it. I want to be a what is it? Content editor. Social media content editor.
Okay.
So
yeah, I like that
because that's where I feel it's going.
Yeah. Definitely.
You know, because a few people have I have commented on their stuff.
Yeah.
And they either come back with like, oh my God, I've always wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
Or I would love for you to edit my stuff. And it's like
yeah, well, I mean the one friend, she's like, I can record all day, every day. She's like, I just don't want to edit. And you're like, say no more.
That's the say less. That's how most people feel, I find.
Right.
That they're content creators.
Yeah.
Right? They love creating content.
Right.
But then you have to sit down and edit.
Yeah.
And it's like,
tedious.
I don't want to edit that.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I'm like, I don't want to create anything.
Yeah.
Necessarily. I do.
You do and you don't.
And I don't. Like I would love, as most of you know, I'm a gun guy. So I would love to have like a gun channel.
Yeah.
Especially if I like leave work, because then I can post all my shit.
Right.
But
you would do really good with a gun channel.
I feel like I would, but it's expensive.
I know.
Ammo's not cheap.
No, neither are guns.
No, but I can start with what I have and get monetized and grow, and we could do what we do.
Yeah.
but ammo's expensive.
Yeah. Yep.
So and then it also takes a lot. Like as much as I love to, I would love to create that content and I would love to edit that content.
Right.
It takes a lot of time to do it. It's time consuming. And the editing part is tedious, which is what people don't like.
Right.
It's tedious.
Yeah.
My thing is just it's time consuming.
Right.
I can't take on, like, I can't tell these 3 people, like, say less, I got you, send me your stuff, I'll edit. Because, like,
there's only so much time in the day.
I don't have time.
Right.
I can't go to work. I can't do the stuff. I can't fulfill my, my responsibilities at home, at work. And then
also have a kid who needs every bit of our attention right now. And then
deliver on deadline.
Right.
I have a video now that thankfully my client hasn't said anything.
Yeah.
You know who you are. They're going through their stuff as well.
Yeah.
Like they're going through their life and everything like that. And I've seen them post stuff and I'm like, we have this video.
Yeah.
That's like half edited.
Right.
They haven't done what they need to do, probably because they're super busy.
Right.
I haven't pressed them.
Right.
Because we're going through what we have.
Yep.
So imagine if, like I help, like, it's just, I can't right now. I want to. We bought a new laptop.
We did. We bought a truck initially.
I jumped the gun.
Yes,
kind of.
Yes and no.
And
it was a lot of
car.
Things. Yeah.
It was 96.
Yeah. But we sold it for, I think, just above or just under what you had bought it for. Yeah. And then now use that money.
I sold it for what I bought it for, but I put in with tag and title.
Right. And, so we just under broke even, but we use that money to buy you a beefier
to invest in
yourselves, because we say that
that's
all the
what
time.
We say. So
so and then put the rest in savings, because our savings is suffering.
Yes, it is.
But another positive note that we can end this on is that the conference was finally announced.
Yes, it was.
And that's actually a good segue into who our guest is next week. Guests, I should say. Mark and Will will be on with us next week, and we'll be talking about the next level, because it's called the Next Level Laser Conference.
Right, so the next level.
Mm-hmm. The next level. So they had some issues, with the hotel dates and some confusion there, and then they needed to make sure that all of the instructors were all on for the new dates, and we kept hitting like roadblocks, and so it was initially going to be the end of February, and now thinking that, like, that's way too soon. Obviously not too soon if they were able to announce it months ago like they wanted to. But so anyway, it's going to be the end of March, so March 31st through April 2nd in Dallas/Fort Worth area. And yours truly will be there. I'm going to forget people, but Julie Ward, Heather, not there yet. Okay, since he's forcing, he's likely coming too. It's not official, but we're hopefully going to be flying my sister out, and she was crazy enough to agree to watch the kids for the week. So that means that you can come, and that I don't have to go by myself, which I love.
With that camera.
Yes, with that camera and your new laptop.
And my new laptop to edit.
And new business cards to get some new customers.
So look out for me. Hey, listen, if you want to discuss future YouTube channels, media, content, if you see me, guy. Hit me up. Yeah. We'll exchange information. We'll get it working. And if enough clients sign up for the right price, I might be able to quit.
Will obviously be there. Victor.
Oh, he's going? Will's going?
Yeah. Shocker, right?
Nah, Will's going to catch COVID.
He better going. Fucking not. We told him, we're like, you better quarantine and like hide.
That's his thing. He sets it. He sets it up. He does everything. And then he's like, oh, got COVID. Got to go in my hermit shell.
That's the fun part. He got to miss all of the fun. Yeah. I felt so bad for him. Yeah. Victor, I think, Kathy, she'll be there. I think there'll be like Casey Cruz. He'll be there as a vendor. I don't think Amanda was able to make it. They're trying to get another, I think, acrylic vendor. There's a lot of that other stuff is in the works. There's going to be some motivational, like general speakers that'll be there as well.
Tim Robbins?
I don't think so, but I mean, you never know. I think Eon maybe even have, I don't know, like if that was just what they're trying to do or if they actually got someone or just who knows, it could have actually just been a thought in that moment. But anyway, a lot of that is still in the works. They're still trying to just make it that much better and more. And I can't wait because, last year was really good, even with all of the things that were like stacked against us. And so I can't even imagine how much better this one is going to be. So make sure to grab your tickets. There's only 200 available.
Hurry up.
I don't know, it may sell out. It may not. I think, they're going to, if they aren't sold out, they're going to sell tickets up until, the week before.
And there are only 200 tickets?
Yes.
I feel like they can. How many, do you know what the number was last year?
100.
100? Mm-hmm. I think they can double.
I think so too.
Especially
and it's more like a central location.
For sure.
COVID isn't as crazy now as it was then.
And it's Texas. Right, they don't have.
So. Right. What's COVID?
Yeah, because last time it was Sacramento.
Yeah,
right?
which was a lot more.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited. I think it's going to be amazing. Yeah. I think ticket sales are going great so far.
I'm pumped. I can't wait to just go and.
It's so motivating.
Yeah.
And the last one, I've said it several times in talking to people that I was surprised how, as a presenter that I didn't really expect to leave it, motivated and excited and, like, ready to take it on now. It didn't last because, there's other stuff going on. But I was surprised at how, like, that energy, like, really went on to me as well. Like, and I learned stuff, like, leaving there. And I didn't really expect to learn a lot. And I came away with a ton of friends that now I keep in contact with all the time. And there's people that, were at the last one that are coming to this one that I'm excited to see again. And so I didn't really expect all that because I get a lot of anxiety meeting people in person. I get a lot of anxiety about everything. But, like, meeting people in person, makes me a little nervous sometimes because I can be awkward or whatever. But
and if I see you there, feel free to say hi.
Yes.
But also expect me to ask you to interview you.
Yeah.
Because I will ask you. I won't pressure you. You don't have to.
Right.
But I'm going to ask you.
And that was another thing I couldn't do. I wanted to get, like, content and stuff for you and for the podcast and all of that. And
you were presenting, you were helping out and stuff like that. Yeah, but so it was just, I'm not going to be doing any of that.
Heather was, she didn't, I don't know that she, like, asked anybody for content, but she was able to get, like, a lot of pictures and video. And I just didn't even think to do that because I was just trying to manage my emotions in the moment and, not be like.
And peopling is hard for you.
It is. I love it.
Right.
But it's hard for me.
After the fact.
I'm like an introverted extrovert because like I love it once I'm there. I love it once I get over the hump and then and then I'm like I've talked about it of how that first night at dinner, like I was like, I don't know these people, I don't want to go, like I did not want to go, but the reason I went was because I'm hungry.
I'm down.
And I didn't I'm good. And I didn't want to figure out how to spend $1 million on DoorDash by myself in my room. You know what I mean? Like, because that's the other part.
Let's hit a steakhouse. Hit me up.
Yes. I mean,
you don't like steak.
No, but like they have good like rolls and stuff.
Yeah, they do. Most times.
Most times.
Yeah,
they have other stuff that's good. But I struggle with peopling, but I also hate being alone.
Right.
So that's a lot of times what.
It's an enigma.
That's usually what gets me out to people. Because I would rather like be with people than be alone. And then once I'm there, I'm like, oh, okay, this isn't so bad. Or sometimes I'll be like, okay, not going to do that again with that person. But, I did like this part or whatever. But anyway, that's exciting. So sign up for sure. If you're close, if you're in the area. Yeah, it is $400. But just like my course, that's a similar price. I don't even remember what my course is. It's 400 something, I think. My brain is mush at this point, but it's an investment in yourself because you will you will come away with it with a lot of
there's
knowledge that you didn't have the first time.
There's
and
a
you'll
lot of
come
seminars you can take while you're there.
You'll come away
There's
with
a lot
new
of networking
friends.
you can do.
Networking is huge. You'll come away with more people in your corner, more people to reach out if you have questions or you don't know something or whatever. So I don't think...
You can find a content editor there. It's just so many resources.
Oh, there's so much there.
So many things.
But I don't think anyone, while there might have been, a couple people who maybe didn't love this or didn't love that, or, because there was some moments where we struggled for whatever reason.
What was the first one?
Right. But I think every single person came away from that conference like that was worth it, or that was great. Yeah. And if they didn't, it was very few and far between.
I mean, listen, I don't cut anything. I don't use a laser. I don't know how to. And I'm pumped.
Right.
I always forget
to
hook the camera
to plug in the
up.
fucking camera because it's blinking at
it's
us
all
right now.
So it's blinking. So this is a good time to end the podcast. Anyway,
we love you guys.
Yes. Thank you for being here with us. If you've made it this far in the episode, 2022, thank you for listening all the way through.
Yes.
And giving us our watch hours.
I have not cried on any of the podcasts yet.
Yeah. Episode 93.
93 episodes.
93 episodes without crying. Well, thank you guys as always for spending an hour with us, watching, listening, and supporting us however you are. It's been another great episode of the Rally Back Project with Crystal and John.
Bye.
Mamie, we're all done.